Alrighty, so if you go to the Moodle page for today, there we go. The information is under the pizza menu icon. How to use tabs, the text. And this is a Word document, so when you click on it, it's going to ask, do you want to open it in Microsoft Word or do you just want to save it? All I do is just save it. And you know when you save something, it usually goes to your downloads folder. There it is, right there. I've already downloaded it and I've got it on my desktop. So I need to set up my document to place the text into there. So I'm going to go to InDesign. Remember to make a new file. Go to File, New Document. For this document, I didn't tell you what I want the margins to be. It should be a letter size. The margins should be 1/2 inch on all the sides. And you can see right now I've got an inside margin of 3/4 of an inch. If you click this icon, it'll automatically set each one of them to be the same thing, and that's what we want. 1/2 inch, letter size, we're all good. We'll say OK to that, and I've got it set up. If I want to flow in text, got to have a text box, so I'm going to click and drag. And how do I drop in my text? Command D, very good. Command D, or you can always go to File, Place, yada yada. There's the text that I want to use, and we'll place it into here. Now, you've got your text exactly as it appears on the screen, but without any of the tabs already set. Copy stuff and follow along with you. Your job is to set the tabs appropriately for each little area that's up here, and also format the text so that it looks the same as on your document. So if you just took it line by line, first of all, you can see these two at the top. They of course need to be centered. So to center it, highlight it. We'll center it up there, and also the first one needs to be bolded. Here's a good tip for you. Instead of clicking and dragging over an area, if you double click on one word, it'll highlight the word. If you triple click, it'll highlight the entire line that you have. 3 clicks allows you to do that. That's just a quick way of doing it. So for this one, we know it's set to bold. Where it says student name, yeah, just be sure to type in your name. And to format the other ones, we'll highlight them. Now, if you look closely, it's a different type of font. This paragraph should be italicized. However, if you notice in Helvetica, it has light, regular, and oblique and bold. Oblique is another word for italicized. It's just the same letters, but they're at a slant. They're skewed. So that's what you'll choose for this particular font there. Also, these are bold and oblique. So we'll highlight that. And there's bold oblique for that one. Nothing new for these. Those are all the same. So let's actually jump in and actually do some tab work. I'm going to zoom in so we can see what we're working with, particularly on this first paragraph. This is set up as if you were typing out your own notes. And of course, you want your notes to be nice and well aligned for everything that you're going to do. So numbering these tabs, we want this to be bold. Let's go ahead and bold that too. I want each of these to be tabbed to follow along this decimal point. Why would I want it to set a decimal tab instead of just a left tab or a right tab? What would be an advantage to doing that? Anybody guess? The numbering? Yeah. Right now I only have one number, but if I have multiple numbers, multiple digits, like a 2 or 3 digit, I want it to be lined up based on that period and not just on the same tab. What's the keyboard shortcut to open up my tab dialog box?
Shift.
Very good. Shift Command T. You can see it right there in your dialog. Remember, this gives you your ruler at the top. And so I want to set up a decimal one. This is going to align to the decimal. We'll set it usually about 1/4 of an inch. Will be pretty good from there. So 1/4 of an inch, and it's set. Also, since I've set one tab there, let's set another tab for the first line from there. Since I've already got one set at 1/4 of an inch, we'll set another at 1/2 an inch. This one, it doesn't need to be a decimal, so with it selected, I can set it to be a left justified, and you can see it changes that one as well. Now if I go back into my text and hit tab, it'll tab over, so now it's aligned well with that one. And if I set a tab again, it'll align with this one. Same way for this one. Tab and tab. If I was to change this number to something else, so if I set another one, tab over and it was 10 point, and then tab, da 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 da. Tab over 100 point. Notice it's off by a little bit, so if I did have more numbers, more decimal places, I would need to move this over, and it'll always align it to that decimal point from when I'm working from there. Same way for the first tab that I've set for that one. All cool? Here's another very, very important trick to know when setting entire columns or entire paragraphs of text. Sometimes you want your text, as in this case, to flow back to its original starting point. But if you look in the second paragraph, I want this paragraph to align to this tab that I've set here. In other words, everything in this paragraph, I want it to line up right there. Here's how to do this. Place your cursor right at the beginning, the blinking cursor, hold down Command, and hit the backslash key. Command backslash. If you don't know where it is, I've drawn it up on the board. Backslash is located just above your return key. It looks like this one. Command backward slash will allow you to add an alignment underneath that particular tab wherever I've set it to. I'll undo it and show you again. So place the cursor there, Command backslash, and everything I type now will be aligned to that particular point. Now I've put my cursor here at the end of it, and if I hit return again, it'll go back and I can continue typing along here. What InDesign has done is it's put a special character right there. It's an invisible character, you can't see it, but it's telling the computer to, hey, everything that's below this needs to align to there. If you want to see that character, you can go to Type and down to Show Hidden Characters. These are things that won't print. And if you zoom in, you see the little crossbar right there? Looks like a T. That T is the hidden character that allows you to have that alignment. If I was to delete it, hit the backslash. First I gotta put my cursor in front of it. And delete it, I would remove that alignment as well. So Command backslash adds it to there. If I added it anywhere else, let's say I put my cursor right in front of the word all, Command backslash, it'll align to that word as well. Wherever that T is, that's where it's going to align. Here's another fun thing. So I told you if you hit the return button and started typing, it'll of course go all the way back to the left-hand side. But let's say I wanted another paragraph to also follow along this one. To do this, if I just hit return, it's going to go all the way back. Hold down the Shift key. Shift and return will allow me to start typing right here. The Shift key is called a soft return. Shift and return, soft return, returns it to that same alignment that you were first working with. Just a regular return, it's called a hard return. And that'll take you all the way back to the end. Check out the endings to these versus the endings to every other paragraph. This is a soft return character, small little blue, looks like an edge of something. Whereas this one it's called a pilcrow. It's shorthand for a new paragraph. So whenever you see this, it's a hard return. This is a shift return, soft return. All cool? Very, very easy, very fun thing to do. This will also come up if you ever do website design. Sometimes you want your webs to your paragraphs to be not indented or not to have a certain type of spacing. Hitting shift return will give you that particular type of spacing. Let's see, let's turn my invisibles back off. We'll hide the special characters. All right, down at the bottom, you can see this talks about the default tabs and how everything is set up. This is what you're going to set your tabs to do. It looks like a bunch of run-on text. You already know how to set a left tab and a right tab, but let me show you what it's doing by default. If I was to just hit the tab key, set my cursor there, press tab, default, it's going to jump every ½ of an inch. So right now, every time I press tab, right at the ½ inch mark, it'll do another one. This one should have a tab as well, so if I tab over, Every half of an inch it'll line up, and this one you can see is lining up on the 2-inch mark. Same way for this one. Now this one I pressed tab and it only moved a little bit. I'll do it again. It's only moving a little bit. Notice where it's lining up at. Right at 3.5 inches. So it's finding the closest half inch and it's moving over to that particular one. What an untrained person would do if they went to the next line was they would hit tab, and of course that first one's going to line up. But watch what happens if I hit tab here. It didn't go all the way over to here. Where'd it go to? One and a half. That one tab here only goes to 1.5. Because there's more text that overflows that half of an inch, that's why it skipped over to this one. Now, what most people want to do is they'll hit tab again, and then they'll try to set up that tab as well. But remember, if I was to set my tabs now, it would make a mistake. It would act as if there was 2 tabs instead. I only want to hit tab just once. Same way for the right. If I hit tab several times, and sometimes you just want to space over to make it do that, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to set tabs correctly from now on. Press tab just once after each one, and then type it in as well. So let's set up these. I'm going to highlight my text. Remember up here, so if I want a left alignment tab, we'll put one right here. So now I've got a left alignment. Here's another neat little trick to know about. Let's say I wanted to have a tab set up instead of every half an inch, every 1/4 of an inch. So I've got the first one set up at a 1/4 of an inch. If you go over to the far right hand side, you can choose repeat tab, and now it will set one up every 1/4 of an inch automatically for you. If you need to clear them, you can always clear all, and it gets rid of everything else. But wherever I put that first tab, or have this tab set, so if I wanted every 3/4 of an inch, set the first one and then repeat it, and then now every time I hit tab, it'll automatically repeat itself from there. Pretty cool? Let's do the same thing. Let's set one every inch. So one there, I'll repeat it, and I've got more tabs than is necessary. I need this one to be a center tab, so I've selected it, choose center, and it changes the alignment for that one. This one needs to be a right align tab, and this final one needs to be a decimal tab. I can delete the rest of these by clicking on them and just dragging them off. And with them set, I can always move everything into the position where I want it to be. So I know this one will be a little bit further over. Set a right tab. You'll see things start to fall into place very, very easily. Let's even move this one over, give it a little bit more room. There we go. Now everything is honky-dory. I've got my tab set. Now all I have to do is actually tab correctly, and it will align itself the way it should be. Notice this decimal tab is lining up along the decimal. Tab, tab, tab. We love to tab. Whoops. Always left, always center, always right. And I'm trusting that everything works out. Let's give itself a little bit more room on the decimal tab. And you'd format everything, of course, highlighting it, making it bold, making it italics as necessary. Y'all know how to set in filler tabs? Highlight your text. Remember, we're going to set, in this case, a right align tab at the very end of our page. And I try to keep this right on top of whatever my text document is. So move that right there. Set a leader of, in this case, we want a point. And now when I press tab, it'll automatically set the tab for that one. This bottom one, I'm going to leave it up to you how you want to set your tabs, but notice how it's set up. You've got a Roman numeral, you've got a capital letter A. Usually the first subhead is aligned to this one, and any subsequent subhead is aligned to the first letter of the rest of your text. And you want your text to be aligned to that first letter of the paragraph. All cool? Today may be a very short day, especially if you've already finished up your first project. Go ahead and finish that first one first, then jump in and practice with these. When you're finished, print these to the black and white printer. So File and Print, and default printer, choose black and white, and you'll turn it in as well. Any questions before I let y'all go?